So in this video, we'll continue to formally define some other concepts in the topic of networks. Now, we've already talked about a network diagram, vertex or vertices and edges of a network diagram. And this topic is quite concept heavy. So there's a few definitions we need to remember that we will go over in this video. Now, we talked about these three. The next dot point says that the degree of a vertex is the number of edges that are connected to it. So if you take the friend network example that we talked about in the last video, this one I've drawn up here, we can see that the degree of vertex B, for example, person B had three different connections. They had three friends, so person A, person D, and person C. We would say that the vertex of B has a degree of 2. We would say the vertex of vertex B has a degree of 3. It's connected to A, D, and C. Person D, for example, this vertex has a degree of 2. This person is connected to 2 other people. This is shown by the edges that go out from that vertex. Now, moving on, we also have something in network diagrams which is called a loop. Now, a loop starts and ends at the same vertex, and it counts as one edge, but it contributes 2 to the degree of the vertex. So if we consider this dot down the bottom here, we have a loop. So it's only one edge, this one that goes around, but it has a degree of 2. One way to think about this is that one way it goes out is this way, and this way as well. So there's basically 2 ways that we can connect this back onto itself. This is the kind of tricky one to remember. It only counts as one edge, but it contributes 2 to the degree of the vertex. Now, sometimes edges will have a direction associated to them. So you can see here from B to C, when we travel across this network, there's a certain direction. So the arrow points that we go from B to C, but not back the other way. We go from C to D, but not back the other way. So these arrows basically tell us a certain direction that we go around our network diagram. Now, in a directed network or graph, all the edges are directed. So as we can see in this particular diagram. Now, an undirected network, basically, it's possible to travel in any direction. So this one that we have down here, I can go from A to B. I can also go from B to A because there's no specified direction. I can really go anywhere along this network diagram as I basically please. So there's no direction associated with this. Now, a couple of things on labeling. If we want to label vertices, basically, we write these in curly brackets. So as you see down here, we have A, B, C, D, and E all in curly brackets. We label edges with these brackets, our regular brackets, as you can see in this example. Now, I'm just reading this straight from the Cambridge Year 12 Standard 2 textbook. A different textbook may have different ways to write this, but typically this is the formal way that we label these. Now, one more thing, we talked about weighted edges before, but just to rehash it in this particular video, a weighted edge is an edge of the network that has a number assigned to it. So it implies some numerical value. We talked in the previous video about time, distance. This can be cost as well. Basically, any quantity or any measure that you can associate a number to. So you can see, for example, here we have 2 cities, Bathurst and Sydney, and the number attached to it, the weighted edge, 200, indicates a distance of 200 kilometers between Sydney and Bathurst. So these are the main definitions we are kind of working through and some of the things we have to remember when we go ahead and answer some questions in the next video. But that brings us to the end of this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.